Episode 9 is set to offer tons of twists and turns as well as surprises by writer and director J.J. Abrams. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that I certainly am looking forward to seeing in this movie is, of course, exactly how J.J. Abrams is going to be incorporating a lot of the flashback and dream sequences as well as vision sequences in this movie. I know that a lot of you guys out there may very well not be up for that idea, which is perfectly fine and okay and all. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with the moment between both Luke Skywalker and Supreme Leader Snoke. Specifically, a description of a younger Luke Skywalker in a black robe with an ignited green lightsaber in front of what is described as a younger Supreme Leader Snoke without his injuries. The next goes over both Snoke and Luke with lightsaber blades locked together. It's described that Snoke's blade is white and he wears a black robe as well. The environment around them is described as the exterior of an abandoned Imperial base. The next goes over Luke taking a strike to Snoke's face and force pushing him into what is described as electric coils, leaving Snoke with massive injuries. The sequences are described to be quick glimpses during a conversation between Luke's Force Ghost and Rey. So I really want to go over a couple of parts about this that are getting me very excited about this movie when it comes to, of course, exactly how J.J. Abrams is going to tell Luke Skywalker's past life, before the events of the sequel trilogy. Now, first things first, I want to go over something that has to do with Snoke and what's described of him having a lightsaber that has a white blade. Now, if he has a white lightsaber blade, this would indicate that his kyber crystal within the hilt is actually pure and clear. Now, what does that necessarily tell us? Does that tell us that at this point in time, he was fully embraced with the dark side of the Force or the light side of the Force? Nobody really knows, but there's a lot of mystery to this character that will be explored within the Age of Resistance comic book, just dropping before the events of Episode 9. It'll be dropping right before the release of that movie, and we're going to be learning a whole lot more about that character. So from this scenario, it seems as though that this is exactly how Snoke received his injuries, and that's exactly what J.J. Abrams is trying to show us, the fans. Exactly how Snoke became who he was, and why he appears that way in The Force Awakens and in The Last Jedi. Nobody truly knows as of yet as to how he received those injuries, and now it seems that Luke Skywalker was the main cause during an actual lightsaber duel. Now, the main question is this: does this take place before or after the destruction of Luke's new generation of Jedi and his Jedi temple? One would assume that maybe Snoke has a grudge against Luke, and his way of getting revenge back at Luke was turning his nephew to the dark side and burning his temple down to the ground by use of KYLO and the Knights of Ren. It could very well be something like that for all we know. Now, the next thing that I do want to go over is the environment that they are actually fighting in. Now, this is described as an abandoned Imperial base. Now, this here tells us that this most likely is taking place well before the events of course, Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, obviously, right? Now, this abandoned Imperial base, this most likely is exactly how Snoke was able to find all the remaining TIE fighters, the ship designs, the weapons, stormtrooper armor, I mean, you name it, right? We do know that there's a lot of mystery to that as well. Exactly how Snoke was able to bring a rise to the First Order and actually create a threat against the New Republic in, of course, the events of the sequel trilogy. Now, the next thing that I do want to go over is how Snoke actually is pushed by Luke Skywalker through the ways of the Force into what's described as electric coils that are actually leaving him with massive injuries. Now, could this also explain as to why he has those terrible injuries on his face, as well as his neck and the rest of his body? It seems as though that he got electrocuted by being pushed by Luke Skywalker into these electric coils in this Imperial base. From what it seems, this is more of a utility area or something around the lines of an electric grid, perhaps. from something that I'm assuming right now. Now, as far as Snoke goes, alright, this is where things get very interesting. Now, you guys may remember a couple of months ago that Andy Serkis had to cancel his appearance at Keystone Comic-Con for a motion capture character in a very secretive movie that could very well be the new Star Wars film and the sequel trilogy. So, if Snoke is indeed coming back, is it going to be portrayed by Andy Serkis? Or is it going to be done through complete CGI, and it won't be voiced by anybody per se, unless they're going to do something completely new and original, where the younger version of Snoke will be done by somebody new? That's a huge question open on the table for discussion. So as far as J.J. Abrams trying to explore Luke's younger life, I think it's brilliant. I think it's a great thing to do in this movie. Not only is it brilliant, it's also a great way in order to pretty much, you know, bring the fans back together. I think fans want to really see more action from the Jedi Master himself, Luke Skywalker, an aspect in The Last Jedi that I feel, you know, is personally just missing from that story that should have been explored a little bit more. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.